Hello friends, welcome to EduTap and also welcome to the series which we have started for IBPS A4 mains exam for the year 2020-21, and as part of that series we are going to do concept of the day for today, that is for lecture number 20, and the topic is vermicompost. We shall do few important concepts of vermicompost, and also we shall also see some previous year questions that might have appeared from this topic in IBPS A4 mains exam. So friends, I have one more announcement. We at EduTap, we have launched courses for IBPS A4 2020-21, and as I have promised, we have launched the courses for IBPS A4 mains 2020-21, and you can find the links to the demo courses as well as payment links in the description box below. So you can go through that and avail the offer. So friends, what exactly is this vermicompost? See, preparing compost with the help of earthworms or any other worms related to, that are used for composting, that process is called as vermicompost. So this is nothing but it is an enriched compost obtained from cattle dung and whatever the waste, farm waste is there, with the help of earthworms. And the process of making vermicompost is called as vermicomposting. And the rearing of worms for vermicomposting is called as vermiculture. So friends, next comes is which kind of species of earthworms can be used for this vermicomposting process. See, for vermicompost production, only surface dwelling earthworms can be or should be used for proper vermicompost process. And these are the various species. These are the four major species of earthworms that are commonly used for vermicompost process. One is Eisenia foetida, which is commonly called as redworm. The other is Eisenia hortensis, which is commonly called as European nightcrawler, and the third is Eudrilus eugene, which is called as African nightcrawler, and Perionyx excavatus, which is commonly called as blue worms. These are the ones that are most commonly used earthworms in vermicompost production. So friends, next is which is the most common one again that is used for in vermicompost production in India, that is Eisenia foetida. It is commonly called as red worm or branding worm or tiger worm or trout worm or panfish worm, and it is the most commonly used species of earthworm because its rate of multiplication is very high. It is hermaphrodite. The lifespan of Eisenia foetida is 1 to 5 years, and when roughly handed, it emits some pungent smell. That is the reason it has been given the name foetida. Foetida means foul smelling. See, other than this, the African worm, that is Eudrilus eugenia, is preferred over all the other types because it produces higher production of vermicompost in shorter period of time, and also more young ones are added in the composting during the entire composting period. So this is the one that is most preferable. But since because of the availability that is present, this Eisenia foetida is the most commonly used species of earthworm for vermicomposting process. So now we shall see some few exclusive points regarding Eisenia foetida, since this is one of the most commonly used earthworm species for vermicomposting. Body length of Eisenia foetida is 3 to 10 centimeters. Body weight of Eisenia foetida is 0.4 to 0.6 grams. Eisenia foetida matures in 50 to 55 days. Conversion rate is 2 quintals per 1500 worms in 2 months. That is the composting matter. Whatever that is, farmyard waste is fed to it, that within 2 months 1500 worms will convert 2 quintals of this into 2 quintals of farm waste into compost. Cocoon production 1 in every 3 days. Cocoon production is nothing but it's a fertilized eggs that are released in the form of cocoon, and after that they hatch, and the young ones, they are released into the soil and slowly they develop, and again that juvenile larvae, they mature in 50 to 55 days. So in every 3 days, one earthworm of Eisenia foetida, it can produce one cocoon. Incubation period of cocoon is 20 to 23 days. So after the cocoon is released, that will stay in soil, and in 20 to 23 days the cocoon will break open and the worm will come out, the baby worm will come out. So friends, now we have seen that earthworms which are used, the type of earthworms used, and we have even studied about exclusively about this Eisenia foetida also. Now we shall see what material is required for this vermicomposting. See, cattle dung or animal excreta, that is cow dung, shaft farm waste, kitchen waste, forest litter, water, I mean, whatever the farmyard waste is there, all that can be added to this for composting by earthworms. So friends, next comes is methods of vermicomposting. Where would you do that vermicomposting? Where does a farmer prepare this vermicompost beds? Where does he do? So there are two major methods of vermicomposting. One is bed method, the other is pit method. See, bed method is something where vermicomposting is done on the pakka or kacha floor by making a bed sort of, for example, 6 by 2 by 2 feet size, or 1 by 1 by 0.5 meters meter cube, this entire of organic mixture. Now then this is mixed, and then cow dung or slurry is also applied and everything, and later the worms are released into it. Now this method is easy to maintain and practice, because see, this bed method, when they are prepared, they're slightly slanting at the bottom. So whatever that excess water and everything, that can be removed easily with the help of, there would be drainage system here. So once you place this material here, whatever, sometimes there might be some excess water, that can be removed easily, and the vermicomposting can be done, properly. Next is pit method. Here this is done in cemented pits of size of 5 into 5 into 3 feet. This unit is covered with grass. This method is not preferred, because of the poor aeration, water logging at the bottom, and more cost of production. So because of that, this is not preferred, but yes, bed method is the most preferable, method of vermicomposting. So friends, next comes is the precautions. What are the precautions that needs to be taken while undertaking this vermicomposting, or what are the major criteria that needs to be observed while this vermicomposting process is being done? See, the first is the floor space should be compact to prevent migration of earthworms. If the uh, the floor space is friable or very loose, the earthworms can migrate from there, or they can escape from there. So to avoid that, it should be compact and hard. Use 15 to 20 days old dung to avoid death of earthworms due to excess heat. See, always pre-digested cattle dung needs to be added to the compost material. Otherwise, the earthworms might die because of excess heat that it releases while it gets digested. Raw material should be free from plastics, chemicals, and pesticides. Dung and shaft farm waste mixed in the proportion of 3:1. Optimum moisture should be maintained is 50 to 60%. See, during the preparation of the bed, generally 30 to 40% moisture content should be maintained. After that, after the release of earthworms, it should be always 50 to 60%, because these earthworms, they breathe through their skins, and moisture content in the bedding of less than 50%, that would be very dangerous to them. They might die of asphyxiation. So with the exception of extreme heat or cold, nothing will kill the worms faster than the lack of adequate moisture. So optimum moisture needs to be maintained at 50 to 60%. And if you feel that there is no not but optimum moisture, the person who is undertaking this vermicomposting, he needs to sprinkle the water over the bed rather than pouring. He or she should sprinkle the water. And next, by the end of the vermicomposting, once you see the all the physical signs of vermicomposting preparation, then again slowly this moisture level should be brought back to 30 to 40%. If at all they are the where the this vermicomposting process is done, if it's very dry, then 30 to 40%. If they are in humid conditions, then 20 to 30% will also do. So slowly this should be brought down to this percentage. Now average temperature should be 18 to 25 degrees centigrade for proper development of earthworm. But if you take African earthworm, it can tolerate nearly up to 30 to 35 degrees also. But generally it's 18 to 25. So friends, the vermicompost can be prepared or it will be ready within 55 to 60 days from the date it has been started. And the finished product is almost 3/4 of the raw material used. So for every 100 kg of the raw material that is fed to the earthworms, 75 kg of vermicompost can be prepared. So as per the requirement of the the farmer or the person who is preparing this vermicompost, based on that the digest the material, raw material needs to be provided to the earthworms. So friends, next comes is nutrient status in the vermicompost. See, the nutrient status, the presence of organic carbon is in the range of 9.5 to 17.98%. You can say 9 to 18%. This again depends on the type of material that is being added for composting. Next is nitrogen 0.5 to 1.5%, phosphorus again 0.1 to 0.3%, potassium 0.15 to 0.56%, sodium 0.06 to 0.3%, calcium and magnesium. Per 100 grams of vermicompost, it should be 22.67 to 47.6, or it would be that much. Copper 2 to 9.5 milligrams per kg, iron again 2 to 9.3 milligrams per kg, zinc 5.7 to 11.5 milligrams per kg, and sulfur 128 to 548 milligrams per kg of vermicompost. So friends, now what are the benefits of this vermicompost? See, it improves soil aeration because of its organic component. It improves soil aeration, it improves fertility of the soil, as you can see, as you have seen the various nutrients that are present in that vermicompost. It improves soil fertility because of its organic component again, or organic matter. It improves water holding capacity of the soil, and also it improves root and plant growth. It enriches soil with microbes because it's all natural and full of organic material. Yes, so it enriches soil with microbes that are very much useful for the plants. It eliminates bio waste. See, rather than thinking about where the all the bio waste of the farms can be dumped, if the farmer goes for vermicomposting, that all would be converted into compost, and again that can be applied to the to the fields. So it eliminates bio waste. So friends, this was the question that was asked in one of the previous year's exams, and the question says, which one of the following is the most commonly used species of earthworms in vermicomposting? And the correct answer was Eisenia foetida. It is the most commonly used species, but the most preferred one is the African earthworm. So friends, next comes is the most awaited section of our lecture, that is answer of the day. In the previous lecture I had asked you a question, what is the nitrogen use efficiency of urea? And here, see, what exactly is this nitrogen use efficiency? See, the plants will not be able to utilize the entire nitrogen content of urea. Only a part or a fraction of it is can be utilized by the plants, which is known as the nitrogen use efficiency. And this nitrogen use efficiency of urea, it stands anywhere between 30 to 50%. That is, in simpler terms, you can say that only 30 to 50% of whatever nitrogen that is supplied by urea can be utilized by the plants. Rest of it, it is not used by the plants, and rather than it escapes into the earth's atmosphere. So The nitrogen use efficiency can be calculated by nitrogen uptake by the plant by fertilizer, the total fertilizer nitrogen minus residual fertilizer nitrogen that is present in the soil. Or it can also be calculated by nitrogen uptake by the plant by nitrogen uptake by the plant plus nitrogen loss. So this is about nitrogen use efficiency of urea. And now government, what they have done is to increase this nitrogen use efficiency. They have started this neem coated urea. Because of the neem coating on the urea granules, what happens is the release of the nitrogen from this urea will be slowed down, but it would be steadily supplied to the plants, thereby increasing the nitrogen use efficiency of urea. So friends, next comes is the question of the day, and here the question is, what are the byproducts of vermicomposting? See, other than the vermicompost that the worms prepare, other than that also there are few byproducts of vermicomposting. What are they?